There is one spot on the earth that I believe is the ultimate test and the ultimate rush. It's the ultimate thing that I've found, the ultimate expression for snowboarding. And it's that combo of the steepness, the rush of making it from top to bottom, the crowd, the heritage, the glory. And it's that ultimate part that I want people to understand.
Steve Klassen, he's been a legend to me, probably the biggest name. Straight away when I started, I was like, not even dreaming of becoming like him because it felt impossible. So yeah, he was definitely like a big role model and like someone I was really looking up to.
Once he straps in, it's just such direct fall line charging and just no hesitation snowboarding and really fluid and fast and explosive.
From day one, Steve felt special in the sense that he was taking it much more seriously than all others.
Ah ben Steve Klassen, je l'ai vu rider la première fois à la première édition de l'Extrême de Verbier, quoi. C'était assez rapidement clair que c'était un modèle, quoi. C'était vraiment quelqu'un qui avait une manière de rider qui me faisait rêver et qui m'a fait rêver très vite, quoi. Je pense les deux gros runs que j'ai adorés sur le bec la première année de l'Extrême, c'était le sien et puis celui de Gilles Warhol.
Had a very particular style, and that gave him the opportunity to really carry a lot of speed in his lines, and he was still, yeah, he also amazed me quite a few times, like throwing up some tricks at the bottom of the run when you never expect that from him. So he had pretty versatile style and a very free-riding style versus mountain snowboarding kind of style. So yeah, I really liked it.
My name is Steve Klassen. I'm from Mammoth Lakes, California. I spend some of my winters in Verbier. In the US, I have a business and I have 3 snowboard shops. One of them is in Mammoth. It's called Wave Rave, and we sell a lot of snowboards.
He's got what I consider the best snowboard shop in the world. One of the original shops, and it's like, this is what a good snowboard shop means. It's like every brand wants to be in Steve's snowboard shop.
Snowboarding started when my father got me a snowboard in 1973. We went up to the Big Bear area outside of Los Angeles. Oh wow, my very first board did not have bindings on it. Then I got a snurfer and I made bindings for that snurfer out of bicycle inner tubes.
Snowboarding began with the Brunswick snurfer, invented in the 60s by W.L. Popping. Snurfing was exciting, but there wasn't enough control to execute a good bottom turn or cut back.
It was just kind of a novelty. Sometimes I'd sit on it and ride it like a sled. Most of the time I'd stand up on it, and it was just something different to do. How did I get into freeride snowboarding? It's more of just my way of life. We moved to Aspen. My mom worked in this bar called The Slope, and they showed videos up on a screen. She waited tables in there, and I would just sit in there and watch those films with guys that were doing huge airs, like 100-foot front flips. The early 90s, that movie Groove Requiem came out that Greg Stump made, and that was the first time that anybody saw Valdez, Alaska.
It was Alaska, the last frontier in the American Empire, and our final stop. We had come to Valdez as the guests of the Sena Lodge, the local heli-ski operation. This was an outpost of very few rules beyond kindness and responsibility. When you heli-ski here, there's no contract, release, or document. The pilot drops you off where you tell him to. Your safe return to civilization is entirely dependent on your respect for nature and your own personal limits.
Greg brought skier Scott Schmidt and snowboarder Dan Donnelly to Alaska, and together with snowboarder, musician, rock star Seal and the song Crazy, it changed my life, and freeriding would never be the same.
I was so impressed by it and enthralled by it, and it's just what I wanted to do. We said, we need to get up to Alaska. I've followed that dream ever since.
Alaska, first trip in 1998 to go and visit the King of the Hill, the mecca of freeriding, steeps, basically naming mountains that were never ridden before. I remember being with Doug Coombs in a helicopter, and we were saying, oh, why not this one? And then after the run, he would tell us, well, I believe we were actually the first ones to ride that venue. What should we call it?
I tried to do whatever I could do to get on the ship with Doug Coombs because he was the most knowledgeable guide that I found, and I liked his style. It was awesome because you could just take a helicopter up. You paid $65 for a heli flight up. They drop you and your 3 friends off, and then it was up to you to get back safely to civilization. And so I learned everything that I could, and I slept in the boiler room at the Sena, lived as cheaply as possible. I'd save my money all year, and I'd spend it on heli lifts.
We get a little crazy. No one ever gonna survive unless we are a little crazy. And the people walking through my head, one of us gotta go. We
After maybe 4 years of that, it started to get too expensive up there. The guides wouldn't take you to the raddest of places, and so I started to look elsewhere. Around '96, Nicholas Hale Woods came over to Alaska and said, hey, this is something I want to bring to Europe. And then he invited myself and a couple of guys from France to go and check out the Bec de Ross. Well, they brought us up to the Bec and they said, should we hold a competition here?
And Steve was one of the first I directly and spontaneously exchanged with. His passion for the sport and for the discipline of competitive freeriding is unmatched.
I could come to Verbier, I could buy a lift ticket for $60 US, and I could go up in these mountains and have lift access terrain with the same type of situation that there was in Alaska. And Verbier filled that gap.
He helped us build the Verbier Xtreme, and then that base gave us the confidence to build a world tour. He is involved in every part of the sport like no one else.
This is the beast.
Well, who's it gonna be? I guess I'm usually the first guy down.
Yep.
All right. Woo!
What? That was awesome. How do you get up that?
Great day so far.
You found a ski.
What are we going to do next? I wonder.
We're going to Hudebeck.
All right.
Get it.
Most of the riders are actually scared riding this mountain. One even took the gondola back down and said, I'm not competing.
I mean, I will say this section right here Right at the top is one of the scariest ones if you drop right here. So, okay.
Although this kind of knob makes you feel a little more safe.
Yeah, if you bring it straight towards it, then yeah, that makes you feel a little more safe. I agree. Yeah, Carl, what do you think?
This is so sick. My first time up here and it's unbelievable.
Awesome,
It's something else.
Awesome.
You need to experience it.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Is it different than the other contests?
Oh, it's day and night.
I believe that Steve educated riders, organizers, everybody about the importance of the line scoping.
L'extrême de Verbier, c'est une face, le bec des Rosses, c'est une face de 800 mètres à 55 degrés. Il n'y a pas toutes les lignes qui passent. Alors la première fois que j'ai participé à l'extrême, c'était waouh, c'était un moment incroyable parce que j'allais rider avec les meilleurs snowboarders du monde.
Riding down the back is always something serious. So I've done the comp 15 times, and every time, you know, like it's always been super impressive because in a way, you know, it's a beautiful face, but you've got that first triangle at the top where you're not allowed to fall. And at the same time, you've got that mood of the competition with all the spectators, all the helicopters filming you and all the buzz around it, and you want to do good. And you're in that mode of wanting to do a crazy line, but at the same time, it's like a no-fall zone, like on all the top sections. So it's something which is really, really hard to deal with.
Well, that mountain up there has brought me the best of times and the worst of times. This place, Verbier, it dishes out the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. Starting at the top, coming down and spending a certain amount of time flying off cliffs in the air and having so much vertical feet from the top to the bottom and doing it quickly. It's just an amazing feeling of like flying through the air. To do that without getting hurt and standing on your feet the whole time, what a feeling. There's nothing else like it. Especially if you come through the finish line, the crowd's going crazy, you're just stoked because you just did an amazing line, and you're relaxed now because it's over with. The terror's in the past. It's just such an amazing feeling. To win on the Bec de Ross, there's just nothing like it.
In the field of six men dropping is literally a legend of the sport, a 53-year-old man who won the first ever Extreme Verbier in 1996, Steve Klassen.
To be honest, I think there's no better legend than him on this mountain, and I think we should put a statue with his face at the top.
He has an inner drive that I really admire, to keep coming back year after year and throwing down, and I think it's because he has a love affair with this mountain. He's so passionate, and that passion gives him the drive and the energy.
Steve Klassen has a fever, and the only cure is the Bec de Ross.
So Steve Klassen, the unequivocal winner of the O'Neill Verbier Extreme 2004.
Yeah, Steve not hanging around at all. And that's a huge air from Steve Klassen. Oh my goodness me. Absolutely incredible. My heart is in my mouth. That was awesome. Absolutely fantastic air. Came flying out of that one straight into the second row band. And Steve Klassen not hanging around for a winning place. What a smooth run. Probably the fastest of the day. Oh, and it was a rodeo off the bottom jump.
I think my best runs are the ones that are the easiest. If I can leave the starting gate and it feels effortless, and I get to the bottom and it was just like I could start at the top and keep going, that's when I have my best runs. So snowboarding a lot is like a dance or like art, where if you're on and everything's flowing right, it doesn't take very much effort to do it.
The place the guys are at right now is blowing my mind. Just in the last couple of years, how far they've taken it. Guys like Holden and Liam and the backflips that they're doing, they're starting to match the size of the backflips that the skiers are doing. That's really impressing me.
Anybody who shreds the Beck and wins the Beck so many times like Steve is a huge mentor for sure.
So what are you gonna do? What are you thinking?
Thinking of starting out of the start gate going skiers left, kind of dropping in through that little couloir.
Wins today and Hitzig is fourth or less, then Marcus is world champion. But I think right now he's not worried at all about a world title.
Lucas right at the venue, opting for this spicy drop in here through this enormous exposure, backing himself to lay some turns above all those rocks.
Yeah, and I was talking to him. He actually wants to open up this new way to get into the central couloir that hasn't been skied yet.
Traversing, like doing a couple turns and then traversing back this way into the main couloir to the direction of the Hollywood.
Yes.
But I'm wondering, I'm not sure if I want to go all the way full traverse or ski down a bit. And then there's kind of like an opening lower down right above the Hollywood that I could air into.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're talking about. I'll just let you know, it's like a different planet up there.
Airing in, riding out strong, heading over above the Hollywood. 360, stomps.
Another chunky set of features.
So here we go. This is into the Macintosh nose zone, made famous by Ian McIntosh, who hit the nose on the left there. But Marcus has something else planned here, setting up, making a turn, and then he wants to double here.
Bouncing and stopping! Marcus Gogan with a brand new line on the Bec de Ross, an absolutely enormous triple.
Unbelievable line there.
That was so much bigger than it looked. Yeah, they're going to get it to him.
Oh, they loved it! 96 points for Marcus Gogan.
Wow. Really happy with the people that I had around me to talk about my line. One of them being Steve. Honestly, he said it was a good line. He was really reassuring. He said it all should work well and that I shouldn't have much issues with anything if I do it as I had planned.
The Hollywood cliff straight off the nose. Liam Rivera stomps it.
What? That was huge. Enormous air and just getting that speed under control.
And that was really reassuring to get that kind of input from someone with so much experience. It puts you in a good mood and confidence for your run, which is honestly what you need before a comp.
The thing that's been really impressive for me with Steve is just his longevity in the sport and the level of snowboarding that he's maintained, well into his 50s now, which is just incredible.
Maybe my second or third participation at the Verbier Xtreme. Freeride competition for me was quite new, and I hadn't found my style yet. And I really remember, in the party after the pub, he was like, "You're gonna kick some ass. The way you ride, you're gonna really, really kick some ass." I remember being like, "Oh my God, Steve Klassen told me that. Why?" And that gave me such a fire.
His passion for the sport and for the for the discipline of competitive freeriding is unmatched. He is addicted to competitive freeriding and to the bec des Rosses.
Oh, I just love the feeling of making powder turns and doing airs and landing in the powder. That's just one of the most amazing feelings that I've found in my life. Snowboarding, powder turns with a beautiful day, the sunshine and friends and family, and landing airs and ripping powder and hiking. That's as good as it gets in my book.
I see and I find in you every day for us something new. Open mind for a different view, and nothing else matters. Never care for what they do. Never care for what they know. Myself this way. Life is ours, we live it our way.